So we know that all things have a function, all things have a role and a purpose. And so we're going to be looking at within these points, the soul's function or the functions of the soul. Point number one is interpreter of reality. A governed soul sees life through God's truth and not emotional noise or even what the prevailing culture is saying. We know through scripture that God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Culture is always redefining things and changing. So you want to make sure that you are grounded in truth, grounded in what things really are. And this is how you filter the noise through God's perspective. And then point number two is guardian of peace. A function of the soul is to be a guardian of peace. It protects your inner calm and manages that. It manages your thoughts and what gets access to your thoughts. A governed soul keeps its peace on purpose. A governed soul keeps its peace on purpose. It knows what to let in and what to shut out. It builds this inner environment that stays steady. So you want to be a type of person that is consistently, constantly the same. And that comes from peace. And point number three is activator of will. It empowers steady, surrendered decisions instead of emotional reactions. A healthy soul does not drift, it chooses. You don't have to drift into success. You don't even have to drift into progress. You don't have to drift into prosperity. You can choose these things and align your decisions with God instead of letting your impulses or pressure lead the way. You can be intentional on your habits. You can be intentional on your rituals. You can be intentional on what you choose. And this is all about activating your will. You have a will. This is your ability to do and get the job done. Life doesn't happen to you, but you happen to life. Point number four is translator of emotions. It processes feelings in a healthy, honest, and controlled way. A governed soul doesn't ignore emotions or let them take over. It understands them, it expresses them wisely, and releases them without further damage to self, and even damage to others. So a function of the soul is to translate your emotions. Point number five is connector of the covenant, and it chooses relationships with wisdom, purpose, and discernment. Otherwise, what is the purpose of the relationship? What is the purpose of the connection if it's not about purpose, if it's not about vision, if it's not about you getting to legacy? So a function of the soul is to be a connector of covenant. You want covenant relationships, covenant partners, and you choose these partners, you choose these relationships through wisdom, purpose, and discernment. A healthy soul knows who belongs close and who doesn't. It builds connections that support destiny and not supporting dependency, whether you're depending on them or they depending on you. We're talking about an unhealthy dependency. And it also builds these connections that support destiny instead of drama and insecurity. And point number six is carrier of legacy. It holds revelation, values, and identity and passes them forward. A governed soul remembers what God has spoken. It remembers the plans. It remembers the visions. It remembers the insight and foresight, and it protects what matters and lives in a way that leaves something meaningful behind. So a whole soul, a soul that is not fragmented, is a soul that's going to carry legacy. It's going to keep the end in mind, while you are operating in your day-to-day life, because you have a legacy to leave. And so these points were all about the functions of the soul. Let's do a overview. Point number one, interpreter of reality. Point number two, guardian of peace. Point number 3, activator of will. Point number 4, translator of emotion. Point number 5, connector of covenant. And point number 6, carrier of legacy. These are the functions of the soul.